Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Josh Padley, the Cinderella man, who came in late back in, February, on that massive Riyadh card, and gave good old Shagger Stevenson a good row before being floored 3 times and stopped. But he did come in at 4 days' notice, and it was, colossal leap up in levels. Nevertheless, Josh Padley, he got a good payday for that fight, and he got a Matchroom contract, and he made his Matchroom debut against a Serbian fighter called Marko Cvetanovic. Guy who was undefeated in 13 with 6 KOs, 29 years of age. Padley himself, not a big banger at all. Only coming in, he only had, I think it was 4 KOs in 15 wins, plus, against the 1 defeat to Shagger Stevenson. But he did have that excellent win over Mark Chamberlain prior to that. That was in September of 2024, where he upset the apple cart against the undefeated Chamberlain, undefeated in 16. Strongly fancied to beat Padley, and Padley won a deserved unanimous decision. Well, against Cvetanovic, we didn't really know what we were getting with Cvetanovic. This was for one of those, low-level belts. It was a 10-rounder, but Josh won the fight. He stopped the very disappointing Cvetanovic in 5 rounds. Cvetanovic, I looked at his record prior to watching this fight, and it was like a who's who of he, who's he of who, or whatever. Who is he? All the opponents were very, very low level. Most of his fights were back in Serbia. Some of the sort of Eastern European outposts, just no names that I recognise, and it looked like a paper resume, to be honest with you. And so it proved, because Cvetanovic didn't get close to Padley, and Padley, who's not a big one-punch puncher, as we know, he's no one-punch banger. Eventually took out Cvetanovic with hooks to the body, really. I mean, there was a big left hook to the body in the 5th round, towards the start of the 5th round. And Cvetanovic sort of shelled up, moved backwards. Padley sniffed blood, went after him, got him in the corner and put him over. And then when Cvetanovic got up, fair play to him, he showed a bit of bottle, but the quality wasn't there. And then Padley went after him, showed a good variety of punches, actually. There was an uppercut in there and some hooks to the body. He was using both hands well, putting the punches together nice. But now that he's, quit as an electrician and he is now a full-time boxer, perhaps he can work on his craft more. Well, we certainly hope so, because he does. I don't know whether he's got it in him to be a world-class fighter or a world beater, but at the very least he can be a very good European-level fighter. And he's going to have to beat better men than Mr. Cvetanovic, who, like I say, just didn't have the technique. I mean, he was all over the place with his hooks from way out. He'd sort of almost run in or stutter step in and fire straight punches that were way, way out of range. He just didn't look very good. I mean, this guy would not win an area level title. So he came in with this 13-0 fancy record, but no, sometimes all that glitters is not gold, as they say. So this was a good win for Padley. Even though the quality wasn't great, it gets him that WBA, whatever it was, Intercontinental belt thing. As you know, he fought Stevenson, a lightweight, and he's staying at that weight. He's staying at lightweight. He'll get a ranking out of this. He'll have to be smartly managed, smartly matched, I'd say. But there's no reason why he can't, make a lot of money, and like I say, pick up some belts along the way, British, European, maybe have another world title shot. He's had one, and he'll be a better fighter for that Stevenson fight, because he'll have learnt a lot, and he came in very, very late, it was a good experience for him going over to Riyadh. 1 minute he's working as a sparky, and the next minute he's in Riyadh fighting on a massive card against supposedly one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. That's how you learn. You take your chances, you work hard behind the scenes, and then when the chance comes, you grab it. And even if you don't quite get it your way, good things can come out of it. Your stock can rise through defeats. You know, God knows we've seen that happen. I mean, put it this way, it was the 40th anniversary of Hagler versus Hearns last week, which I remember watching and being breathtaken by. They're like so many others. Can you name me a fighter who's been knocked out in 3 rounds, whose stock rose higher than Thomas Hearns in that fight? The guy got knocked out in 3 rounds, but because he was in that incredible firefight, you know, his stock actually rose. At the time, I remember it, people were saying, "Oh, you know, you can't. Oh, Hagler's great, but you know, give kudos to Hearns as well." Okay, that's a very extreme example, but what I mean is, if you're there, if you train hard, if you live the life, when the chance comes, even if you don't quite have enough in the tank to get over the finishing line, the very worst you can come is a pretty decent second place, and you can build on that. God knows Josh Padley, now that he's quit his job, got his Matchroom contract, he's making some decent money. That definitely applies to him, doesn't it? So all the best to Josh Padley. It'll be interesting to see what he does next. Did you see the fight? What do you think of Padley? I think I know what you thought of the opponent, Cvetanovic. Cvetanovic wasn't very good, was he? But leave your comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, of course. I always say this, and hit the like button if you like the video and spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. And again, thank you for the 6,000. We've reached 6,000 subscribers. Let's keep building on it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks a lot then. Speak to you soon. More to come tonight, and bye for now.